everybody. Welcome to lunch. Nice to have lunch with you guys. Just looking up wine jokes. So those of you who know me know that I'm looking for one that's going to make everybody laugh. Yeah, see, look at that. Kim Chen's already laughing. It's great.
Have they been that bad?
Oh, they are really bad. Yes, they are. I can tell you, they're very short, so I can tell you one of the first ones was what do you call a dog that brings you a glass of red wine? He's called Bordeaux Collie. Yeah, see, look at them. This is great. They're a great audience. I like the Höplers. Very
They're
nice.
simple and harmless.
Yes, that's great. But anyway, we're only 20 minutes today, so I'm not going to do very much talking at the beginning. But what I can tell you is that in Montreal with Kim Chen and in wo sind Sie?
In Wien.
In Wien, yeah.
Yes.
So they are also drinking the Grüner, and I haven't any Grüner because I drank it all out of my cellar. I went to get one to have at lunch, and I don't have any. So, but you know what I did find was this really cool ice wine, and you guys can be really jealous because it's not in this offering. And I've got these beautiful glasses to have some ice wine in, so I'm enjoying that. But so I'm not going to take up the whole time because we're already 2 minutes in. We're here just to say hello to the Höplers and have some lunch. That's why we call it a brown bag lunch, is that people can munch away. If they're at work, they can do a little work and they can watch us and enjoy that. And we decided on a theme very recently that this is your 20th anniversary of operating the winery, and we congratulate you on that. And we wanted to talk a little bit about the changes over that time. I bet you they were gradual changes, but when you think about what it was like 20 years ago compared to now, I bet you there's a big difference.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So in fact, I took over from my father in 2007 officially, but I've been doing the wines since vintage 2000. And over the years, of course, a lot of things have changed. Knowledge, technology. In those years, we built a new winery where each and every tank is temperature controlled, so we can cool it, heat it, measure the CO2 exhaust. The winery is now totally solar powered, and also when it comes to efficiency, installation of the tanks and also of the whole winery is very important. And I think also when it comes to regenerative farming, a lot of new knowledge came into play over the last decade in fact. And there is probably the first 10 years of my 20 years, everything was more onto technology of the winemaking. And over the last probably 10 years, it's back to the vineyards and better and deeper understanding of how vineyards, nature, agriculture works and what impact we have and how we can secure what we have and what is beautiful also for the future generations. So that's it's a lot of change.
and is one of the wines that we're offering, was it there 20 years ago when this all began, when you started making wines with your dad?
I think we have, as far as I know, we have always offered the Grüner Veltliner, yes. But Louise knows much more about the history of Opimian because she talked to my dad in more detail.
So I sat down with Jost last night just to go back to the 1970s when he first met Kenneth Christie and then John Sambrook. So he met them in the UK, and I think, am I correct, it was Opimian did travel visits.
Very much, yes. It was a big part of being a member.
And Jost was really involved with that, so Christof's father, and that's how we Höpler started with Opimian back then. So I think that's nearly 40 years ago. And then I think in the 90s it changed to the format that it is today. So Jost talked about visits to Argentina, to Chile, to Burgundy with Opimian members. at the time and big grins on his face.
Yeah.
This is gorgeous. But the Grüner Veltliner is the stable, it's 33% of all Austrian production. It's what Austria is famous for as a grape varietal. Grüner is the native grape of Austria. And so I think it's always been in your offering in all those years.
And that's what we're having right here.
And that was kind of a leading question that I asked, because I'm really curious if you were to try, and I mean, when it was fresh 20 years ago, if you were to try the Grüner then compared to the Grüner now, given all of these technological changes, would you say that it's different, or have you actually tried to keep it the same? Does that make sense? Is that a
yeah? So obviously the grape is the same, but I think there is some aspects of the Grüner Veltliner is probably more pronounced now than it used to be 20 years ago. So I think there is more an emphasis on the peppery notes, the zesty elements, and the freshness and crispness, and I think there's also a much better understanding of how wide the variety of Grüner Veltliner, the style of Grüner Veltliner can be. And so, of course, there's a deeper understanding and more pronounced flavors probably now, and more precision than ever with that grape variety that we all really love, because it's so incredibly food friendly. And so you can play with all kind of vegetables, everything that's green and fresh. Just Grüner Veltliner is just a hit with it. Even rocket salads and artichokes, everything that's super difficult to pair with Grüner just does the job and excels.
And what do you think? Is that the acidity in it that can match the boldness of those flavors you were talking about?
It's more some substances that you will find in the Grüner Veltliner that just work really, really well. It's just a great pairing. It's not so much the acidity, because sometimes acidity can be really tricky as well, but it's just the whole complex side of Grüner Veltliner that works really well.
What's that chemical in the skin of the Grüner Veltliner?
Rotundone and other things. And
I can't pronounce. Rotundone is the name of the chemical, and it seems to be that's the clever part that makes it pair well with these.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Foods. Because I mean, really, cooking and food pairing and winemaking is chemistry, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very much that.
To a certain extent, but
and
it's
magic.
also about feeling and tasting and enjoying. That's one.
Oh no, I get that. I don't mean to discount that at all, but I do mean that's and that is the magic of it, right? Is that the way those things interplay with one another.
Exactly.
And yeah, I love that. And I did want to have you talk a little bit about the Blaufränkisch, given that it's a red from Austria. A lot of people aren't familiar with that.
Yeah, Blaufränkisch.
Can you tell us a little bit? Yeah.
Absolutely. So Blaufränkisch is one of our favorite grapes. It's a beautiful grape variety that is also grown in Germany. It's called Lemberger, or in Hungary, it's called Kékfrankosch. But it's a typical Austrian grape variety. It's Austria's second most widely planted red grape. And you can compare it slightly to a Cabernet Franc, because Cabernet Franc also has the spicy elements and a very elegant tannin structure. And Blaufränkisch has certain kind of similarities to that grape variety as well. So you get a highly elegant tannin structure. A little bit of acidity comes with Blaufränkisch, which makes it really age-worthy. But there's also some dark fruit to it and peppery, spicy elements. And especially on the Leiterberg Hills in Burgenland, close to the Neusiedlersee, where we are located, the Blaufränkisch does really well. It's a highly elegant grape variety that does exceptionally well with pork, especially pork belly, everything that's on the fattier side. Blaufränkisch is just a fantastic grape variety that works really well with that.
And sort of any fattiness, so beef, lamb, it works well, roasted things.
Mm.
But it also has the freshness that comes with the Blaufränkisch, and that's what we love about it. It's not heavy, it's just really delicate.
Right. And the fun thing is, if you roll the clock back 20 years ago, Grüner Veltliner was a grape that was, you know, sort of, it was definitely known in the wine world, but it was just not known to the majority of consumers. It was quite a secret, an inside tip. And Blaufränkisch is becoming, it's kind of 20 years behind where Grüner is. So people are now, they accept that Grüner and Austria does great wines, and they're now exploring internationally these new things, which is why Blaufränkisch is getting a little bit more page cover in the media.
Right. And when I was doing some research for writing the editorial for this particular offering, I read that 98% of Austrian wines are drunk locally by the Austrians, right? And it's a very small percentage that even gets exported. So we really appreciate your at least sending some of your production over here to Canada.
I think the statistics are a little bit, I think we export about 25-27%.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
so I
that's
think that's
substantially changed, hasn't it?
So it's kind of come from 20 towards 30 over the last 15 years.
So there's another change from 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like that when Christof started working with his dad.
In terms of the production volumes, they're similar. So we're similar in size to New Zealand in terms of, so we have this, a little bit more land that's planted to grapes, but New Zealand produces about 10% more. But obviously we drink 70% of our wines. So
yes, that's right.
Or 75%. So, and I think the consumption is significantly higher here.
And we've inadvertently already answered Paul's question. Thanks, Paul. And Greg is asking, is the Cellar grape a subspecies of Pinot Noir?
It is. Genetically, it's not related, but stylistically or type I would say it shares some characteristics with Pinot Noir. So it's a very thin skin, and it's very susceptible to all kind of diseases. It's tricky to grow, but basically the St. Laurent is much deeper colored. It's also soft in tannins. But yeah, genetically it's not related, although it feels like it.
Right, and you know, Greg Reinhardt, my partner, co-managing director, he sent me a picture. I don't know if it'll show on here, but he sent me a picture of your Saint Laurent last night because
Nice.
He went on vacation last night for the long weekend, and he said, if you love Pinot, you'll love Saint Laurent. That's what he said to me last night. So
yes,
and I guess it's so if you were to decide between the two, you'll definitely like the Saint Laurent if you like the Pinot Noir. Our Pinot Noir you've known for a long time. It's award-winning. We do the Trapp family house wines with our Pinot Noir.
Right.
We've got some great famous customers. And the Saint Laurent we export. The only country we export it to is to Canada, because actually it's all drunk domestically apart from Opimian members. And it's really good with things like pork fillet, so things without too much fat. So
interesting.
Yeah, so it will work more. So if there's a little bit more fat, take the Pinot Noir, and there's a little less fat, take the Saint Laurent. That's cool. My rule of thumb.
I would say so. Yeah. And basically it's like a more powerful Pinot Noir.
Oh, great.
And Louise, my rule of thumb is for any Asian food, go with the Grüner Veltliner.
We would agree.
And
it doesn't matter, you can call it GV if you can't pronounce it. It doesn't matter how you say it.
Right. Yes, that's right. And I did notice that you are the Founder's Choice producer. Don't tell them what it is. It's supposed to be secret. But anybody who's on the call, the Founder's Choice program, which every 5 weeks we automatically order one for you. We're about 1,150 people in that program now, and you would get a top quality wine from the Höplers when you order the Founders. You can just join on your dashboard when you sign into opimian.ca. So anything else that you can tell us about your last 20 years? What's been the favorite thing? Oh, that's a terrible question. Is there something that stands out about about what's been the greatest thing about making wine for 20 years? I think it's a really silly question, but I apologize.
No, I think it's a very fair and it's also a very good question. But one thing that I really enjoy is that I got to learn new things on a daily basis. And that's fascinating. So
Yeah.
it's never boring, it's never dull, it's always exciting. And it's constant learning. It's constant learning. And it's also very, very humbling. I can tell you that. So this is what we love. This is what we do. And also, anything else you
Well,
want
I think
to...
the joy is, obviously I'm married into this, so this is new relatively for me, and it's the product that you're making. It's at the heart of celebration often, and even if it's celebrating a really bad Monday, you know, it's normally seen in a positive light, and that's a real honor. And people will come up to you and tell you stories of when they've had it, and you're kind of embedded in a memory it's very special. And so that's just back to the humbling. Nature humbles you, and then you're creating memories, and that's a very lovely thing to do too.
That's great. And you know, a majority of our members will be familiar with the Grüner, but you've got it in your glasses there, and I know you've just sat down with it. Just so everybody knows that they got stuck in traffic and arrived 3 minutes before this began, so they were in a bit of a tizzy. But why don't we do a bit of a tasting of that? If you can talk about the nose and the palate.
Yeah, so this is Grüner Veltliner 2020, and the beautiful thing about this Grüner Veltliner is again its precision when it comes to the nose. You get some green apple aromatic components in combination with zesty lime aromatics. It's not right into your face. It's a delicate version of it, and you have a refreshing acidity. Body-wise, it's medium, so it's on the lighter but not too light side. It's very elegant on the palate, so some mineral underlyings there, and then it finishes gently. I would say
a lingering tickle.
Yeah,
a lovely freshness that comes.
It leaves you with the desire to try it again and discover more. And it's not heavy. It's 12.5 alcohol. It's clearly a cool climate wine, very refreshing, very crisp. And so you can enjoy it on its own in combination with food, and just enjoy it. That's the main thing.
Oh, that's great. And then before we let you get back to your evening, we'd really like to have you talk a bit about let's see if I can pronounce this correctly, the Panonica? Is it the Farsi? Panonica.
Yeah.
Panonica, the mixed case, which I know our members always love a mixed case. They get to try 3 wines in one. And so it's got one of the Grüner and a couple of the Blaufränkisch blends. Can you talk a little bit about those 3?
Yeah, Louise can.
So these are 3 blends, and they're kind of introductions to Austrian wine. So those people who have been a bit timid to try them, you've got the grapes that we've mentioned today. Got 2 reds, 2 whites, and I think 2 rosés. One's made with Pinot Noir, the red, and the Blaufränkisch. The Grüner Veltliner is in the white, and the Cellar is in the rosé with the Blaufränkisch. So all the wines we've talked about, they're at a very affordable price. And they've got the qualities that we've talked about, but in a very friendly blend that I think can only be enjoyed.
It's Austria in a case is what I saw when I saw all of it. You've taken every indigenous grape and you've got it in there. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
And the regional name for our area is Pannonica. That's the Roman name, and that's why we've called it Pannonica.
And the Romans were the first to plant grapes in our area.
More than 20 years ago, I bet.
Yes.
A little bit.
And Michael, this is a perfect case for summer. Like I had the Pannonica white. It's a terrace summer sippers, and you get the best of the world. 2 rosé, 2 white, and 2 red.
Yeah.
And I said you could then lead you onto the others if you're not so familiar with them.
Very, very cool. Well, we don't want to keep people over time. It's about 20 after, and you guys can then unpack your bags and have more wine, I hope. So that'll be great. Thank you, Kim Chen, for running the board for us, and thank you all of our Opimian members for joining us from across the country. It's always, I enjoy doing this. I think people can tell that this is always fun for me. And thank you, Christof and Louise, for joining us and taking the time, and for, again, giving us the opportunity to bring these wines into Canada, because I know there just isn't enough to go around. So we really feel, I'll use your word, Christof, humbled that you've chosen us to be your distributors in Canada. So thank you. It's great to have you as partners and part of the family. So
thank you so much.
Have a good afternoon, everybody, and a good evening in Austria.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Good
Thank
luck
you
with
so much.
everything.
Thank
Auf
you.
Wiedersehen.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.